Welcome to Demolition Success Secrets, the podcast that's changing the game for demolition businesses everywhere. Ever wondered how a wrecking ball wielding industry can leverage digital marketing to dominate their market? Well, we've got the blueprints, strategies, expert guests, and more to show you how. Stay tuned, because we're about to blast through the barriers of your business.
Awesome. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Demolition Success Secrets. We have a real treat for you. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, Hayden.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about you and tell us about your company, what you guys are doing.
Well, my name is Bob Zadek, Z-A-D-E-K. About me personally, I'm in my 57th year practicing law. I live in Southern California. I'm addicted to paying very high taxes, and I would not know how to cope with life if I was allowed to enjoy the benefits of all of my work. So I just prefer to share it with a lot of people I don't even like that much. But that's who I am. And I always say, in defense of my living decision, I know, but the weather's great. So do not think that I'm irrational by choosing to live in what is euphemistically called the Golden State. That's referring to how much wealth they've accumulated off the workers' backs. That's why it's
Right.
the state. It has nothing to do with the sunset, contrary to what I think. I practice law, as I said. I have been exclusively involved in lending transactions in the middle market. I hate big anything. I don't like big banks. I don't like big companies. I like dealing with humans. And I like dealing with people, with entrepreneurs. So I've organized my life around what I like, which is dealing with real people. My practice is I represent lenders, all kinds of lenders, lending to all kinds of borrowers, commercial, not consumer. I also am a lender myself. I love it so much that I not only represent lenders, but I am a lender. And I became a lender about 25 years ago when I realized that I was the lawyer for lenders, and I believed I was at least as smart, but more likely much smarter than any of my clients. And there was a disconnect. How come they were making so much more money than me if I'm so much smarter, Bob? I answered the question by realizing because they're in business and I'm selling hours. So I went into business. I have a lending practice, and I'm a lender as well as a practicing lawyer. More specifically, the area in which I work is asset-based lending and factoring, which provides working capital financing to business. And along the way, I have discovered a lending product, which is, oh my God, is it perfect for the construction industry? And I will get into it probably if you ask me exactly the right questions. I'll get a chance to explain it. And your audience will learn what a wonderful product this is for both the lenders and for the audience, which is probably comprised of potential borrowers. They also will learn that this lending product has as a byproduct that the audience, which is accustomed to being borrowers, will never have to borrow again. How's that for a temptation that will make sure nobody switches off this program to listen to something else? That's
pretty amazing.
When we offer the opportunity to, if not become debt-free, have infinitely less debt. So that's my introduction. Hopefully it'll tickle the curiosity of the audience as well as yours, and off we go.
Yeah, well, now we have you guys teased. Bob has done a great job at teeing that off. I think really why I wanted you guys on is the industry with demolition, obviously construction the industries at large of building things and tearing them down, our audience being mainly people tearing things down, money is such a massive hurdle. Collection is such a massive hurdle. Terms of payment, 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, etc. Can you kind of go a little bit more into detail into your role, the company, everything like that, maybe how it could be applicable to the demolition world?
This is applicable primarily because to your audience, which has two contacts with debt. They owe money and they are owed money. So it's like the life of middle-class people. I spend my 12 hours a day representing creditors, and I become all this power, pay the money you owe my clients, and I have lots of power. It makes me feel pretty important. Then I turn off my work computer, open up my personal computer, and I deal with credit card debt and mortgage debt and tax payments, and I get to be a debtor for the other half of my life. So I, like you, like almost everybody, spends part of the day owing money and part of the day being owed money. Well,
Right.
in this podcast, I am addressing primarily the part of life of our audience which is owed money, and invariably, the people who are owed money needed to be paid faster than the person who owes the money chooses to pay it. Isn't that a case? No mystery. That's just the way it is. People would rather have their money in their pocket rather than in somebody else's pocket. So to help your audience stay focused, this directs the demolition industry's task of getting paid faster because they need the money fast. Why? Because the ones they owe money to want their money fast. And you can't pay your debts if somebody else owes you money. Well, you can if you're in college, because when I was in college in a fraternity, we all played hearts. We played cards all the time. And no one had any money. We were college students. So we kept what we used to call were debt sheets. I learned later in life, it's called an accounts receivable ledger. But in college, it was a debt sheet. And I had a list of all the people who owed me money from hearts games. And they had a list of who owed them money. And I was on that list. And if I lost money to you, I would pay you by transferring part of the debt somebody else owed me. So in fact, we created almost an artificial currency. Well, so the lesson being, you can pay your debts if somebody else would pay to you what they owe to you. And that's what the focus of this program is all about. The product has a name. It's called reverse factoring. Now, as people in your audience might know, there is a very important, active, competitive middle market lending product called factoring. And many of your clients may retain the services of a factor. What are they doing? They're owed money by their client. Their client will pay them in 45 or 60 days, but they want the money in 45 or 60 minutes, not days. So, and they can't get their customers to pay them that fast. So they go to a factor and they sell that 45-day asset to a factor who pays immediately. So now you do, in fact, get your money in 45 minutes rather than 45 days, albeit by taking a discount. You, in effect, you pay a fee to get paid faster. That's factoring, and your clients may use it. Reverse factoring is quite interesting. In reverse factoring, the customer of your client engages company that I represent, its name is Skyscend, which is a reverse factor. So the customer of the demolition company engages Skyscend, and Skyscend offers a service to the vendors, the demolition world. And we approach the demolition world and we say, hey, Mr. Demolisher, I presume that's the noun, Mr. Demolisher, you will be paid in 45 days by, let's say, Turner Construction. But you want the money now. Well, we offer a service. We will pay you that bill in 45 minutes. We pay it on behalf of Turner. And you pay a fee, of course. Nothing is for nothing. You pay a fee, probably the same you would pay to a factor, maybe less, maybe more, but in the same ballpark. It has to be competitive. And you get paid your bill to Turner, your customer, you get paid that bill in 45 minutes. Now, how is that different? The big difference is you, Mr. Demolisher, are not borrowing money. You're just getting paid fast. So just imagine, let's imagine all of your customers were using the service. That would mean there is no need for the demolition company to ever borrow money because you're getting paid in 45 minutes or something like that. So the huge difference between that and making up for working capital shortfalls by borrowing is you're not a borrower. You're now debt-free. The only reason you borrow money now is because people aren't paying you as fast as you need. But now with this service, you can get paid as fast as you want. You get to pick how many, you need the money this morning, just take it. Help yourself. Get a prepayment. Think of it like a line of credit where you're not a borrower. You draw down what you need. Yes, you pay a fee, but you'd be paying interest to a bank or to a lender anyway. It's the same fee, but look at the difference. No lien on your assets, no personal guarantee. Most importantly, you sleep like a baby because you don't owe anybody any money. So when I said in the teaser, you're going to be debt-free, I wasn't just blowing smoke. This is a product that converts credit sales into cash sales without having to borrow. That, in a nutshell, is reverse factoring. And as for the customer, as to the vendors, which is the demolition companies, you're at the bottom of the food chain. Yes, you pay your own subcontractors, perhaps, but you're towards the bottom. But now you don't have to beg for money. Just help yourself. It's really that simple. You can do it on an app. If Turner, your customer, in my hypothetical, has approved the invoice, that means it's yours for the taking whenever you want. You don't have to borrow the whole thing. You don't have to take the whole invoice. Take whatever you want, and you are debt-free. There you have it. Now I guess I should stop talking because my phone is going to start ringing off the hook. I won't get any work done. I won't get any work done for the rest of the day. But there is the introduction to reverse factoring.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love it. How is the aspect of factoring versus reverse factoring? Do you see that a lot of your clientele use both? They use just one type of product. Why wouldn't they use both, or why wouldn't they just lean on you only?
Reverse factoring is less common because it's newer, and also it requires some skill in building the product. But that's just building the product. once it operates, think of it like a home equity second mortgage on your home. When you need money to pay your real estate taxes or to pay a home bill or to pay a vacation or college tuition for your kids, you go into the line of credit and you take the money. That product, you're a borrower. In this product, you're not borrowing money, you're taking money, which is yours. It feels totally different. And yes, there's a fee, so the effect on your profit and loss is kind of the same, but look at the difference. In one case, you're a borrower with a personal guarantee. In the other case, all you're doing is taking money which you have earned, and you're just getting paid faster. It's magic. It's magic.
What are some of the big takeaways from the clients that you guys serve? Because our demolition audience, man, some of them are doing 100 million, some of them are doing 10 million a year. It really varies. But what are the takeaways or the empowerments that you guys feel that you're providing for your clients?
The main thing, the whole product is driven by one thing: the customer of the demolition company has to approve the invoice.
Yep.
And they approve the invoice literally with a mouse click. So they have to be satisfied that your customer, the listeners to this podcast, have done the work. But that's always the case. No one expects to get paid before it's been approved. But in demolition, it's pretty straightforward. The approval is done in the field. It's all done. And people know how to approve invoices. And the whole process starts with an invoice approval. Once the buyer of the goods or services approves the invoice, within minutes of approval, the demolition company will get a notice that invoice has been approved, and then it will say something like, "Help yourself to the money."
Take some money. Okay.
It's like those shows that used to be on television where you're given a shopping cart and you got 45 minutes in the Safeway. Help yourself. You get told this invoice has been approved. Help yourself. And you will be told, let's say the invoice is $25,000 for the week's work and you need $6,500. Well, you take $6,500. You'll be told to the penny how much the fee is, because you're getting paid, let's say, on day 3. So you're getting, and let's assume it's a 45-day invoice. So now you're going to pay a fee based on 42 days at the interest rate, and you'll know what it is. It's not hidden. You can look at your homepage and see exactly what the interest rate is, and you help yourself. And the money is in your account the next day.
That's amazing.
And you don't have to hold your breath and hope they don't change their mind. After all, it's your money. Remember that. All you're doing is taking your own money. So you're not a borrower. And the feeling of being debt-free is empowering. Everybody wants to be debt-free or at least have less debt. And this does that. Right.
Yeah. Unless they're those debt addicts, like, I don't know if you ever heard of Grant Cardone's The World and these big real estate, big, massive, we want more debt is more leverage, more leverage is.
I'm a lender. And when I teach lenders, my lecture on how to be a lender starts off with the following sentence: getting paid back is the second worst thing that can happen to you.
That's hilarious. Very interesting. That's fair, right? I mean, the money is made on the interest and the time the money's out there and you're collecting payments.
Look, getting paid back is like buying a car from a car dealer and then returning it the next day. The car dealer doesn't want you to return the car, wants you to keep it. Same with with renting a car from a car rental company. They don't want you to bring it back.
Right.
Well, I don't want you to give me back the money. I want you to keep on paying interest. Don't pay me back. I want you to be able to pay me back. I don't want you
Right.
to, but I don't want you to ever actually do it.
Right. Yeah. Keep the payments. Don't not pay me. Keep the payments. Don't pay me in full until, long, long, long into the future. That's interesting.
Excellent.
Okay. So for a demolition company, my understanding, and maybe for the audience, just to clarify that, they're essentially talking to the people who owe them money, and they're convincing them to work with you guys. Is that
That's
correct?
right.
Or they
Sure.
already work with you?
And what happens is, for the suppliers, for the reasons that I have said this afternoon, suppliers love it, for obvious.
Mm,
And what we find is the suppliers will go to their other customers and they'll say to the other customers, hey, do us a favor, get reverse factoring because we love the product, and then we're not going to be hounding you to pay us fast. And by the way, to the buyer, in my hypothetical Turner Construction, it's neutral to them.
right.
They pay me on the due date. They're doing the same thing they're always doing. They're paying on the due date. But we operate, if you could imagine this metaphor, like a shock absorber. We absorb the delay, so the buyer gets to pay slow, the seller gets to be paid fast, and we're that big shock absorber in the middle that enables one to get paid fast and one to pay slow. In fact, the tagline that I invented a long time ago, but it tells the whole story, is pay when you want, get paid when you want. That's the deal.
Love that. Okay. How is any sort of intensive underwriting, anything like
The
that?
underwrite, well, nothing that involves your client, because your
Right.
client's not a borrower or
Correct.
your audience. Yes, of course. We like to consider ourselves as making loans, not gifts. And if you want to make a loan, not a gift, you want to make sure the person we're lending money to, in this case, it's Turner Construction, in my hypothetical, that they're good for the money. But that's our problem, not yours.
Okay. So then for our audience, how long would it take them to get set up with you guys? I would assume just a few quick minutes. Pretty easy.
They're set up once we sign up the buyer. Their setup is 2 seconds, because what happens is we send the suppliers, in your case, the demolition companies, an email that simply says, hey, we're going to be paying the bills. Here is a link to the homepage. Build a profile. I mean, the profile is simple. I don't have to do a credit check. I don't pay for a deadbeat. I'm just paying you. I don't care what you do.
Right.
You can have some very bad personal habits for all I care.
Right. And that's what I wanted to crack into. So totally makes sense for our audience. Next to nothing in terms of time, headache, underwriting, credit checks.
Send the money. All I need is a place to send the money.
Right.
Remember, your audience's only relationship with me is I'm going to send them money.
Yep. And then for the Turner example, how long, because I'm thinking of our audience saying, hey, Turner, you should get on this platform. How long does it take a Turner to get set up?
Well, a couple of, maybe 3 days.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Look, we do a usual credit check. We do our job, take care of the credit part of it. But unless they have credit problems, we do it. And we will set a credit limit. It might be huge, but a credit limit. And let's say it's $3 million. That means we can have outstanding unpaid bills of $3 million. So it'll cover most of the payables, depends on the company. And they may, so it's only a limit of how much credit we can give to the buyer. But the reason construction lends itself to this product is what makes construction industry different from other industries, not all industries, but other industries, is that it is populated by big buyers and smaller sellers.
Right.
That's construction. So the big buyer can get a big credit line, and the small sellers need the money. So the product is most suited. If I had to pick one industry where this product makes everything better, it's construction. For that reason.
Makes sense. Yep. And like we mentioned earlier, in this demo world, the money aspect is such, I can't tell you, Bob, how many podcasts or clients I've spoken to, and it's always coming back to that. I mean, right. Life, it becomes about money.
You have labor, which you can't pay your workers on net 30. The workers got to be paid on Friday or every other Friday. So you don't have a choice. You don't pay your workers on time, you go dark. So so the demolition and other subcontractors in construction have a huge labor component, which cannot wait to be paid.
Right.
And there's an imbalance. Your customers pay slow. Your vendors, who are workers, got to be paid on Friday. They got to be paid. You can't negotiate that. And that's what creates the pressure, and that's what creates the opportunity for a product like this.
Awesome. Cool. Well, how can they get in touch with your team? What's the website? Where do they go to?
The website is Skyscend, SKYSCEND, Skyscend.com is the website. They can get in touch with me. My company, because we do transactions with Skyscend. My company is called Lenders Funding, one word, .com. It's Zadek, Zadek, at lendersfunding.com. That's how you can get in touch with me, or you can call me at 415-699-2512. If you do, please remember, I'm in California, Pacific time. I go to sleep early. So if you wake me up to talk about reverse factoring, I'm going to be grouchy.
Rightfully so. Okay. Well, Bob, do you have anything else to leave the audience of demolition owners, demolition executives, anything left from all the wisdom, the infinite wisdom that you do have?
No, except for the fact that managing money doesn't always come easy to people. When you have a small business, as I do, Lenders Funding is, in the grand scheme of things, small business. Everybody knows you have to have the skill to perform a lot of business functions: marketing, HR, sales, accounting, finance. You have to be good at a lot of things. And often finance is weak. People are intimidated by it. It's really simple. It's really simple, but it's intimidating because it involves money, and money is inherently intimidating to people. And this product makes cash flow. What could be more worrisome than looking at your bills and looking at your bank account and say there's not enough? And so it's one less thing that you don't have to worry about without being a borrower, without going into the market of very high interest rate borrowing, and you feel embarrassed about, you're paying too much for money, but you don't have a choice, or you don't think you have a choice. And this gets rid of one big distraction in running a business. That's all.
Awesome. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much, Bob. We're super, super pumped we got to have you on again, like hitting probably the biggest critical mass that we have in the podcast. So, guys, thank you so much for joining and really kind of sticking with us. This is an awesome podcast. So we will see you on the next episode. Bob, you and I are going to stay on the line. Thank you guys so much. Bob, thank you for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap for this episode of Demolition Success Secrets. Stay tuned and subscribe for more explosive insights from our upcoming episodes. Until then, continue to blow up your demolition business and make the competition rubble in your path.